It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, both at home and also in diaspora. I hope you all are doing great today. Of course, in case you're coming across this channel for the first time, this is where we talk about real estate. Real estate, in the sense that this is where I review all the dirty game plans developers use. This is where I talk about how to avoid and, of course, understand manipulations. I give you safety tips on where to buy and where not to buy, and I go as far as giving you, as long as most of those things about title perfection. This is what we do. We do the search, we do the perfection, we understand where it is, what it is good for investment, where it is not. So you really have to subscribe to this channel, because this is where you get the value. So today I'm going to be talking about integrity checklist 4. And this episode is going to be very, very mind blowing, because I'm going to be revealing a whole lot of things that was not even said in the previous episode. Now, in the previous episode, I talked about how to avoid manipulation. So today I'm going to continue from there. Now, what do we need to know when we come to real estate investments? Now, the reason why I'm doing this basically is due to the fact that Lagos State has started taking possessions of landed property, not only in Ibeju Lekki and other places in Lagos, the Lekki, Aja, and the likes. Now, why are we doing this? Why do you need to understand Lagos State government policies on real estate? Now, a lot of people might have been telling you that I don't mind those people. If your land have excision, you don't have to worry. To an extent, yes, but there are some places in Ibeju Lekki that you just can't rely on just your land having excision. And today I'm going to be talking about why you need to consult a professional, why you need to work with somebody that is honest, why you need to work with somebody that is not looking after his own selfish and personal gain in a real estate transaction. Now, the role of the person is that the person is going to advise you and give you tips, safety tips on where to invest and where not to. The person is even going to explain more on title perfection. Now, you don't get to see real estate agents here in Lagos, Nigeria doing such, because most of them are after their own selfish gain. Now, looking at this, basically, why is Ibeju Lekki a hotspot? Now, let me just quickly tell you something. For those who have bought lands with title, when I'm talking about title, I'm talking about Gazette, C of O, and Convenience Consent. For those who have landed property with the titles I've mentioned, this set of people are going to become billionaires. The rate at which property has increased over time in Ibeju Lekki is just massive. So, if you must go for landed property in Ibeju Lekki, go for these 3 titles: Gazette, C of O, or Excision. Or Governor's Consent. Now, if you must buy Excision, you must buy Excision under an agreement. What do I mean by that? Is either the developer selling that Excision to you have the intention of perfecting it to a C of O, or you have your intention of perfecting it to a C of O. So it's a two-way thing. And another thing is that once they confirm to you that a land has Excision, my dear brothers and sisters in Nigeria and also in diaspora, you need to confirm. They've revoked Excision at Elenrogbe. They've revoked Excision at Igondo Orudu. They've revoked Excision at Oshoroko. They've revoked Excision at Foluise. They've revoked Excision in different parts of Lagos. They've even revoked Excision at Aja and Shogutedu. So once they tell you that a land has Excision, before you believe, you need to check. And another thing you need to watch out for basically is that when they tell you that a land has Excision, now you need to also understand what are the major projects coming to that area. Now, the reason why governments are taking over lands basically right now is due to the fact that governments have projects coming to this region. Now, perfecting those titles will save you the stress of losing your hard-earned investment. So if you must buy, you must ask the question of why should I buy? Is it safe? And how long am I going to hold possession of my property? Now, they took us somewhere. Now, a lot of people might be projecting Ekpe. Yes, Ekpe is safe. Yes, Ekpe is safe. At the moment, Ekpe is safe because Ekpe is a rural development. However, I got an information recently that The government are trying to move people. There are some lands government will collect at Shongotedo. In fact, there are some lands that government will collect at Aja. And those lands, and I also said previously that at the moment now, government is not signing excision again. They are not giving out gazettes. And the reason why they're doing so is because they've come to realize that those properties will still be in use. Those properties will still fall under their projects. So if you must buy, number one, the very first thing you need to do, you need to search. Then number two, if the excision is genuine, then you need to sit down with the developer, because the truth of the matter is, for those who have bought land for 800,000, who have bought land for 900 at Ibeju Lekki or different parts of Lagos, the truth is nobody is going to perfect the title. Now, if you should notice the amount of money they pay at Alausa to get title perfection, you will understand that the 900k you have paid or you bought the property is not enough to even perfect one plot. That's just the truth of the matter. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to let you know the reality of what is going on right now. So if you bought a land that is below a million or above maybe 1.52 million and the land doesn't have a title, you obviously will have to do your title by yourself. Now, I'm going to be talking about the secrets you need to know about Ekpe, because a lot of people have been talking about Ekpe. Yes. Now, there are some places we have charted in Ekpe that are safe. I'm going to say it again. There are some places that we have started at Ekpe that are safe. And there are some places that governments have reserved in Ekpe for resettlement. There are some places in Ekpe that are safe, and there are some places that government by themselves, they have reserved that place for resettlement. So if you must buy Ekpe, you need us. We have the chart records, we have all this information at our disposal. So buying Ekpe presently has gone beyond just saying the hard, like I've always been saying. Now, this is where the integrity checklist comes into play. Ibeju Lekki is fast developing, and Ibeju Lekki is the gold mine. Ekpe is also fast developing, and Ekpe is also a gold mine. So how do I invest? Number one, the very first thing you need to do is to understand the government master plan. Now, most of these guys selling these properties, you don't even understand this thing. What they do basically is that they go to the family owners of the land, they struck some agreement with them, and they sell. I've seen instances whereby some people will use a title on few plots of land to sell the entire estate. I've seen instances whereby some titles are in process and they tell you that that title has been perfected. It is only when you go to do your due diligence you find out. So these are some of the manipulations that you need us to help you unravel. You may be abroad, you may be in Nigeria. Perhaps you are this kind of person that do the 9 to 5 job just like I do. You may not have the time to do all the search. You may not have the luxury of time. So that is why you need us to help you facilitate this, and also to ensure that you don't get duped. A lot of things is happening in the Nigerian real estate sector. All these agents talking to you, they are only after their own reward, and most of them don't even have the facilities. It costs a lot of money to search a property, and most of them cannot afford to do that. So what they do basically is that they take the information given to them by the person selling the property and they relay those information to you without confirming. So this integrity checklist will help you understand where to go to and where not to go to. Okay, now I have bought. What is the next thing? Should I leave the property for a while to appreciate before I do the title perfection? If I were to be in your shoe, that would be a very, very bad idea. Because while the property is appreciating, government will... Now, this is what we discovered recently. In Ibeju Lekki right now, some people are approaching government for allocation. So if there is for untitled lands now in Ibeju Lekki, if you are not making plans to do your title perfection, I'm sorry to say this, by the time you are ready, the property is gone. That's just the truth. So waiting for a while to fix your title is a bad idea. If you have the resources to do that, don't even wait for anybody. There's a Form 1C that most developers give after but of course, that Form 1C is basically a part of the forms that were submitted at lands when you want to go ahead with your title perfection. Don't allow manipulations by hungry real estate agents. That's why we said you should contact a professional. So with this viewpoint of ours, so this is where we're going to conclude the episode on integrity checklist 4. And if you have more questions about this, you can call us, you can send us a DM, and you'll be glad you did. Have a nice day, and of course, subscribe to this channel. So our next episode will be on excision. What's next after your property acquisition excision? So I know you're very, very, you're anticipating just like I am also. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and God bless you. Bye.